Our newest Grand Hero battle unit is Rutger, who is here to accompany the Binding Blade banner. Rutger is an infantry sword unit, and it's been quite a long time since we've had one of those. It's one of the most common unit types in the game, and veteran players have had their fair share of free-to-play options. Unfortunately, our man Rutger here is going to have a tough time carving out his own niche, so this episode is going to be a bit shorter than usual. At the end of the usual episode segments, I do want to take a look at all of our free infantry sword heroes, so stick around for that. We'll see how Rutger stacks up and why he isn't the most unique free reward unit out there. I know that may not sound great, and I'm sure a lot of people are going to rag on the guy for that, but he's really not that bad. He just got a bit unlucky in the skill department. Regarding Rutger's stats, they are his best assets. He has 44 HP, 32 attack, 39 speed, 29 defense, and 24 resistance. That 39 base speed is very nice and will allow Rutger to run a ton of different builds. Paired with a decent 32 attack, Rutger can put out good damage since he should be getting a lot of follow-up attacks. With 44 HP, 29 defense, and 24 res, he has a good amount of bulk. Rutger has a ton of HP to work with, and with his high speed, that means he should be able to duke it out with more than one enemy. For a reward unit, Rutger has a great stat line, and he can be a great pickup for newer players who may not have some of the other faster swordsmen. Unfortunately, when it comes to his base kit, Rutger will struggle to stand out. His weapon is the Slaying Edge Plus. It's the upgraded version of the Killing Edge and grants the simple but strong Accelerate Special trigger effect. This means any special Rutger uses will drop -1 cooldown permanently. As an inheritable weapon, the Slaying Edge isn't that special, plus since you can get it by upgrading a Killing Edge, it's very easy to get a hold of. Rutger can use it well, but so too can many other swordsmen. Going back to the rest of Rutger's kit, he comes with the Vengeance special. Pretty much nobody uses Vengeance, and it's similar specials because their damage increases depending on how much HP your unit has lost. While Rutger has a good pool of HP, if he were to activate Vengeance at full HP, it would literally add 0 extra damage, which is why it's so bad. Rutger can use it if you want, but I would just swap it out for Luna or Moonbow. For his A skill, Rutger has attack and defense bond. If he is next to any ally, he gets +5 attack and defense during combat. This is Rutger's rarest skill, but since it's a sacred skill now, it's not exactly in high demand in the A slot. In terms of melee combat, Rutger does want the extra attack and defense, but to activate a bond skill, it's generally easiest to do it on the enemy phase while baiting enemies. If you want Rutger to make an offensive move, it may be tough to activate attack and defense bond, and since he has great speed, he should be a unit used on the player phase as well. If you want a tankier setup, this is a fine skill, but I think it's a little bit of a waste to turn Rutger into a pure defensive unit. For his B skill, Rutger has Vantage 3. Once the prime arena meta skill, Vantage has fallen way to the side in favor of B skills that promote one-round knockouts. Back when most units overlapped in speed stats, it was a strong skill since generally most first engagements would end in a KO. However, today we just have crazy effects that grant guaranteed doubles, super high speed units, and just generally a lot more firepower to end battles in one round of combat. It's a fine skill that is still quite annoying to face against, but it's just not the same powerhouse from 2 years ago. Without any super unique skills, Rutger will fail to stand out among other units with similar stats. For the most part, using him will come down to if you just like his character, and I do implore you to use units you like for whatever reasons. For those of you who do like Rutger and intend to use him a lot, here is what his stats will look like after one merge. I like to mention this now because most units are just fine with 0 merges, but with the added stats for the first merge, it sometimes is a nice surprise boost and it won't cost you a ton of feathers. Now for Rutger, his normal +1 merge grants +1 HP and +1 speed. With his neutral nature, he will get an additional 3 points that fall into HP, attack, and speed. This brings his HP to 46, his attack to 33, and his speed to 41. This is a fantastic boost for the first merge, and having over 40 speed with no other skills is quite an achievement. If you're going to use him but maybe not +10 him all the way, I would say one merge is worth it since that 2 extra speed is very nice. For builds, I'll start with keeping most of his base kit. I would personally refine his Slaying Edge for plus speed because it will give him some player phase power if he can double. With attack and defense bond and Vantage, we are looking for a mainly enemy phase build. We can double down on attack and defense with the Sacred Seal version, and since Pan has given us defense smoke, I would use it since it goes very well with Vantage. The idea of being Rutger attacks, spreads the defense debuff, and then having an easier time KOing enemies with his Vantage proc. With this build, switch Vengeance out for Bonfire, and thanks to the Slaying Edge, it can proc in one round. This is very simple, and Rutger can use it, but I think he isn't the greatest unit if you want to go for a full enemy phase style build. To mix in a little player phase power, we can try Brazen skills. With this good HP pool, Rutger can get into initial fight and fall into Brazen range. With Brazen attack and speed, Rutger will become very fast and you can abuse Desperation for taking out weaker enemies. To retain some bulkiness, we can use attack smoke and close defense. To retain some bulkiness, we can use attack smoke and close defense, both which can help Rutger survive tough situations. He can take someone out with Desperation, spread attack smoke, and even if he is on lowest HP, hopefully the attack debuff plus close defense keeps him alive. Now, I know nothing about Rutger as a character since I never played his game, but I always do a little bit of research. Apparently, Rutger could reach insane levels of crit through his supports and of course the Wo Dao, which sounds hilarious, and I don't think any Fire Emblem fan doesn't love a good crit god. For fun, we can give Rutger a Wo Dao, refine it for speed, and tack on Fury 3. This bumps his speed up to 45 at all times and makes his special procs even deadlier. Using Wrath 3 adds to the special madness, and with Rutger's decent pool of HP, he can take the chip damage from Fury. Once it gets low enough, Wrath activates, and we can use Brazen attack and defense as a seal for added damage, plus a little survivability. Again, we keep attack smoke to further improve Rutger's chances of survival. Overall, high speed builds are a ton of fun, and Fury plus Wrath makes for a slightly risky playstyle. You'll want short cooldown specials like Moonbow, and in the perfect situations, you can add 20 true damage when it procs. I run Fury, Wrath, and attack smoke on my Nephany, and it's a lot of fun, but definitely not made for multiple battles. If you want to play a little on the edge, Rutger's good bulk leaves a good bit of room to work with. If you want to take advantage of Rutger's great base speed stat, I can see him being an okay candidate for no follow-up. It cancels enemy skills that grant follow-ups as well as enemy skills that prevent foes follow-ups, which makes it incredibly handy for tackling army units and their super OP bold and vengeful fighter skills. It can also negate Wary Fighter, allowing Rutger to attack twice on slow army units. Since no follow-up works so well against army units, Rutger can pick up an Armor Smasher, the upgraded form of the Armor Slayer. It's effective against armor enemies, and Rutger has enough attack to leave meaningful dents. Keeping the speed refined and Fury 3, Rutger is plenty fast to tackle non-armors as well, and if you want to fight multiple times, you can use Aether plus Flashing Blade. The healing will be necessary, and Flashing Blade helps Rutger proc it faster. Overall, definitely not a cheap build because of no follow-up, but it's a strong skill. Keep in mind, it works on any skills with follow-up effects, not just armor skills. This includes things like Tabarn's Weapon or Brave Ephraim's Flame Segment. Cancelling out those abilities can really screw up a unit. So should you promote Rutger to 5 stars? Well, he has an amazing 39 base speed, and all of his other stats are perfectly usable too. He does have high base stat totals thanks to power creep, so Rutger shouldn't have a problem keeping up with the pack for now. While his stats are stellar, his skills are not. They aren't bad, but with no unique weapons or super rare skills, Rutger can be replaced by many other Sword Infantry units to do similar jobs. In terms of build options, his high speed opens up a lot of avenues, which is a plus in my opinion. Overall, Rutger is perfectly fine to use, but long-term players probably already have a lot of other 5-star infantry sword units. He is going to be one of those units that is good, but not a huge priority to build up. If you like Rutger as a character or like his cool hoodie, then go ahead and use him. If he ever gets his own unique weapon, I think he'll get a lot more attention. That's pretty much what I have to say on our newest hero, but let's take a short look at a comparison between all of our free infantry sword heroes. Since the start of Grand Hero Battles and Tempest Trials, we've received 7 free Sword Infantry units, with Rutger being number 8. With Fire Emblem having most main characters wielding a sword, people have always had to choose who their favorite sword character is to use, and the competition for infantry swords is very tough. I just wanted to quickly cover everyone here, and hopefully that can show newer players where a guy like Rutger stands. First off, we have our slower boys, Legendary Ike and Tobin. Ike is not a Grand Hero Battle or Tempest Trials unit, but he is available to everyone who goes through the story. If I'm going to be honest, Legendary Ike is probably the best unit here. He is super easy to use, has a lot of strong skills, and is very good for clearing out any content in the game. Ike has great attack and defense, and with Ragno, he has distant counter. Combined with Warding Breath, he can easily charge Radiant Aether, which heals him and deals damage. You can't really go wrong with Ike. As for Tobin, he is easily our slowest unit here, but has a lot of HP and solid defense and res. Unfortunately, getting hit twice hurts him a lot, but he does have an Armor Slayer. Many have made Tobin into a super cheap green armor counter, and you can give him Axe Breaker to bust through a Wary Fighter too. If you compare Tobin to Rutger, you can see that Rutger massively outspeeds him, and his other stats aren't that much lower than Tobin's. 4 defense for 12 speed is a worthwhile trade to me. While most melee units want more defense, some of our heroes here have exceptional resistance. Joshua is really balanced with all of his stats being somewhat respectable. His 28 resistance gets boosted by his unique sword Aldhuma, which adds plus 5 res. Besides that, Aldhuma is just a stronger slaying edge, but even that small edge adds to its uniqueness. For his skills, he has close defense and wind sweep, which makes for a super odd combination, but it can be a niche playstyle, or you can build around each one separately. If you want to fight dragons or run distant counter to fight mages, Joshua is a good candidate. For Lloyd, he has good speed and res like Joshua, but awful defense. Melee units should be fighting other melee units, most who deal physical damage, so Lloyd will take a beating in many matchups. His resistance is solid and gets a small boost from his refined Regal Blade, but overall Lloyd needs a lot of support. Rutger's skills may not be super crazy, but they are way better than Lloyd's, who he has passed, which is incredibly situational and not super amazing otherwise. The final grouping is the one I'd say Rutger fits into, and I'm including Joshua again because he is just so jack of all trades. Each unit here has more than 35 speed, which I would consider to be good, and Rutger's 39 base speed does stand out a bit. In terms of uniqueness, his closest competition is probably Marissa, with Rutger being a stronger offensive unit. Even then, Marissa comes with infantry pulse, which is rare and has the high HP to use it. Compared to Joshua, Rutger definitely keeps up with him in terms of physical attacks, but lacks resistance, and Joshua has tons of odd but unique abilities. Masked Marth is an odd case because Marth has no skills other than Falchion. Rutger beats them in every stat except for 2 attack, but then the question arises, do I want Falchion, which kills dragons, heals Marth, and can be refined for more stats, or do I want a boring slaying edge? The same can be said for Navarre. Comparing the two, Rutger has 2 more HP, 1 more attack, 2 more speed, 6 more defense, and a time resistance. Before a couple months ago, when Navarre only had a killing edge, I'd say there was zero reason not to use Rutger over him. However, since he got his own Scarlet Sword, which has a quicken pulse refine, that's something that separates the two of them. Rutger's got some amazing stats, but that lack of a unique weapon or rare skill just hurts his value. He also has some insane competition if we include 5-star summonable sword units, many who have their own unique skills. It's disappointing to see him not have anything to differentiate himself other than base stats. He is good, but could have been amazing as a free unit if he got a decent weapon or some crazy skill like a solo skill or Wrath. Unfortunately, that's not the case. Hopefully this video helped you out, and if you stuck around for this little extra segment, then thanks for watching. Let me know your thoughts on Rutger in the comments, and I'll see you guys in the next video.